Hello, my name is Bentham and welcome to Factorio, where today we are looking at the 0.12 update. The day has finally come, the update is here, and there's all this cool new stuff that we've never seen before, or we've seen in Factorio Friday Facts previews, of course. So, if you haven't seen those, you'll be looking at this and thinking, what on earth is all this mess? There are a million things on the screen that you'd never seen before, and there's so many different things to cover in this particular update that it's going to be difficult to explain some without others explaining others first. It's going to be very confusing. But what I'm going to start with is what, of course, all of you are interested in, which is this massive thing right here. This is the rocket silo. It's the new endgame content replacing the rocket defense, and the purpose of it is to build a rocket and send it to space with a satellite on it. The building itself is 9 blocks by 10, and it requires ridiculous amounts of stuff to make it. Some of this stuff I don't think you've even seen before. Let's find it. There it is. It has the same icon as the rocket defense at the moment, which is slightly confusing. So yeah, it uses 1,000 steel plates, 1,000 concrete, which we've not seen before, and I'll explain that later on. 100 pipes, 200 processing units, and 200 electric engines. So it's pretty crazy. The 1,000 steel is a lot. It's a bit of a mess. And in fact, there had to be a small change made to how assemblers work in order for you to craft something using 1,000 of anything. An assembler can now actually take more than a full stack of an item at once, which is pretty nice. But enough of that. We want to know what this does. So there's a bunch of new items that come along with this in order to achieve the ultimate goal of launching a rocket. Let's look inside it for a minute. So you can see we've got a little menu here. There's a 11% there. That's how much of the rocket I've built so far. We've got a few different items, and I'll run through those in a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put those in there. You can see it starts crafting. Bar goes along, doesn't take very long, and then an item is made. Now the item doesn't actually physically get made. It gets put straight into this. So as you can see, it's now gone up to 12%. Every time you make a rocket part, you get 1% further in this. So if you make 100 of them, you win the game, I guess. You launch the rocket, you put a satellite on it, which is that thing there. I'll look at that later. And that's how you do it. Later on there will be more. There will be the building of space platforms and the building of factories on said space platforms. It's going to get very, very cool. But at the moment this is what we've got, the actual the launching of a satellite, and then the space platform stuff will be the big parts of the next update. So to make the rocket parts we need 3 items. They are low density structure, rocket fuel, and rocket control unit. These are all new and all have their own particular things about them. So I've got a couple of them being assembled down here. We have our low density structures. They're pretty simple. All they use is 10 steel plates, 5 copper plates, and 5 plastic bars. So that's a piece of cake. You can easily make those, which is good because you need a lot of them. The next one along is the, I believe it's called, yes, the rocket control unit. This one's a little bit fiddlier. This requires processing units and speed modules, so you'll have to work a little bit harder for that. Those speed modules should already be in your logistic systems, because you need them for destroyer drones and level 3 assemblers, so that should be fine. And those are the two that I've got assembled over here. The rocket fuel is being assembled a long way away from here, because what it uses, if we go over to it in the menu, is solid fuel. You need 10 solid fuel to make 1 piece of rocket fuel, and then you need 10 rocket fuel to make a rocket part, meaning you need 1,000 to make a full rocket, meaning that you need 10,000 solid fuel to build a rocket, which is it's pretty crazy. If you don't have solid fuel being made in your factory, start it now, I would say, because up till now solid fuel hasn't been something that you've needed in the main game. It's been an option if you want to use that instead of coal, but you've never actually been... There's nothing that needs it particularly. There might be some weaponry or something that uses it, I forget. Nothing particularly important. Now you actually need to make solid fuel in order to complete the game, so sort of integrating it more and making it a more useful thing for you. Right, so we've looked at those 3, and here we have the satellite. This one's a little bit fiddly to set up because it's quite an important and big item. So you need 100 low density structures, 100 solar panels, 100 basic accumulators, 5 radars, 10 processing units, and 50 rocket fuel. It's quite nice how they set this up, actually, because it's clear that it's got like a power system to it, and then it's got scanning systems, computers, and then its actual frame and fuel. So I like how they put that together. It's very clear what the satellite is and what it does and how it works. But you do need a lot of stuff there to actually make that happen. So that's all that new stuff, and that is basically it there. That is how you do it. I've not shown you one yet, and I'll try and show you one later, either at the end of this video or in a future video. We're getting there, 12% of the way. I've got a few bits of other stuff hanging around. We could put that in there and get another 1% towards our ultimate goal. But yeah, what I imagine happens when you complete it is it gets to 100%. Some box appears like here or here or something. You put the satellite in, and then you send it, and off it goes. And that's that. You win. Later on, of course, you can put other things in it, I guess. And eventually, I imagine, yourself. So that's pretty cool. So move on from that. That's all the basic stuff there. So you can see a couple of other things around me. We have here the new combinators. This is all circuit system stuff, and this is a little bit confusing for me because I never really delved into the circuit system. So this is testing new waters, and I'm not 100%. I'm not very well versed in this, but I'll go through what I know, which is how these things themselves function. I've never used them myself. I've never used this sort of thing myself, so I wouldn't be able to show you ways of using it. But I'll try and set up a video talking about how the circuit system works now that it has a lot more support for it. So this is the Arithmetic Combinator. It's fairly simple. There's an input and an output, as there is for the other one as well. Well, not that one. There's an input and an output, and basically whatever goes in, you can modify it to affect the output. So let's say that we're inputting a pipe. For whatever reason, the signal of a pipe has entered the combinator, and then what we can do is, say, add a constant, such as 4, or we could go crazy and say, what is that, 2 billion or something? What is that? I want to know now. Yeah, that's 2 billion. Or 2,000 million, in case you've got different definitions of what a billion is. But yeah, we'll put that down to something more reasonable, not that it matters. So, did I not save it? You have to press set. See, I don't know how this stuff works, really. So there you go, pipe plus 100, output that. Well, really, you do it with signals. There's a whole set of signals you can use here, like D. That's a signal. There's also 5, if you so desire. So yeah, that's how that works. You add to the input and then output and stuff. I think, can you modify the numbers of an output? Oh, you can't on this one. But you can in other ones. So here we have the decider combinator. Now this is for making logic gates. That much I know. So like and and or and stuff like that. And basically the difference is that it's got greater than, less than, and equals in it. So let's say we put signal 3 in, and if signal 3, and I think the way it works is it's the number of something. Let's go back to, I think this works better with items actually. So let's, okay, plates. So if we have less than 0 plates, let's change that. We'll have more than 3. If you have more than 3 plates, output the input count, or 1. Those are your options. And it's difficult for me to describe because I barely grasp it myself, but the idea is if you have more than 3 iron, you output 1 of the iron. Or if you do that, then when your iron gets to more than 3, you output all of it. And you can carry on like that. There's all sorts of things you can do if you're clever and you know circuits and stuff. You can make all sorts of crazy things, like a giant sign with Factorio written on it that scrolls along. Okay, and the third one is the constant combinator. So this is fairly simple. It just generates an output. And it's basically an alternative to having a smart chest with an item in it. So you can just say it outputs the signal of 10 processing units. There you go. And it can also, as well as that, output the signal of 4, if it so desires. You can do all sorts of stuff with that. And it's the same. There's all sorts of clever things you can make with this that are beyond me, honestly. But that's how the basic stuff of how it works. If you know, then you probably were laughing at me that whole time for being stupid. I will learn about these. I will find out how they work, and I will start using them, and then I can get back to you on how these things actually function. This stuff here, these are chain signals. I've just shown you them in various angles, in case you wanted to know in depth what it looks like from every direction. Now we'll go into how that one actually functions later. And I think what we'll do now is we'll go up to my little demonstration area that I've set up with all the random things to cover today. So here we have floors. It's quite clear it's dominating the situation. We had some down there as well. There are 2 kinds of floor. One of them is made of stone bricks, and it's got this nice sort of hexagonal, what do you call it, Giant's Causeway sort of thing going on with it. You see it's got like diagonal edges and things. Let's make a couple. I've got a brush here. You can modify the size of the brush with the plus and minus keys on your keypad. Of course, you can rebind that if you don't like using the keypad or you don't have one. And basically, you just plonk it down. It's just a brush. You see that where you have a corner, you get a diagonal connecting it, so you can make nice, neat, rounded edges and so on. And if you want to clear this away, you have to have it in your hand at the moment. They may change that later, and then just mine as you normally would, and it mines the area covered by the brush. I think there we go. I was slightly out of range there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's the placing and the mining of them. This one here, this is concrete. This is a little bit more fiddly because it's a new item. So I'm going to run you through how it's made, and it's not made in a very nice way. I think it's basically been set up to be a challenge. So here, where is it? There is the recipe. It uses 5 stone bricks, 1 iron ore, and 10 water. And immediately see why it's a bit fiddly. It uses raw ore as one of its components, which is quite cool. So basically you're going to have to quite possibly do a bit of messing about in your factory to get this to work, because generally your iron ore goes straight into a furnace. If you smelt it on site where you mine it, then you're really in trouble, because you now have to ship some of it back to be turned into concrete if you want any. I think the idea behind this is that concrete is just supposed to be harder to get. You do get 10 concrete from 5 stone bricks, so you do actually get more flooring for your stone, but the iron and the water makes it a little bit fiddly. So enjoy that, see how that goes. While we're moused over, you can also see that it has a walking speed bonus. So for the stone bricks, it is 130%, and for the concrete, it is 140%. So let's walk on it. I think I'll take off my power suits for this. Well, I've only got one on, but I'll move that around. Here we go, walking around sluggishly as we do early on in the game. And you can see that when we get onto the concrete, not the concrete, the stone bricks, you can see, or at least I can see, maybe it might not come across so well, but your legs speed up and you move quicker. It's pretty cool. And if you go onto the concrete, you get even more of a speed boost. So not very much. It's only 10% more, which means it may not be worth it. I think the way it should go really is for you to have like the stone brick all over the place and then concrete where you're walking, and or something like that. That's what it sort of seems like to me, because this is cheaper. Well, I guess iron ore isn't that expensive. It depends on, I guess the expensiveness comes in the setup cost really. So you can see you can build anything you want on top of it. It is just like any other terrain. Though there are some differences between terrain beyond the walking. If we hop inside this car for a minute and drive around, we'll mouse over and you can look at the speed in the top corner. So we're going up to 80 kilometers an hour there. Let's keep moused over it right. Oh dear, it's not reacting very well. I'll zoom in a little bit. Oh, it's flickering. Very strange. I wasn't doing that before. But if you watch the speed, you'll see that when we go over concrete, we gain speed, and then when we come off it, we actually slow down again. Which is pretty cool. So we have more grip, we can move faster, and then when we go off it, we start losing our momentum again. So you can use this for roads, and it helps you get places faster. So that's pretty cool. Also, there are actually different speeds on different bits of terrain other than these. So soil is, let's see, I've got the modifiers next to me. So the worst one by far is sand, which I think slows you down nearly half or something like that. It's hard to say because the two different vehicles also have different modifiers for it. But either way, sand is the slowest, whereas concrete is the fastest. And it's there's actually more of a difference between concrete and stone path for cars than for walking. So it's more important for roads to use concrete. But yeah, dirt's not too bad. Grass is a little bit worse, and sand is by far the worst. If we hop into the tank, there's not actually that much difference because, of course, the tank is designed to be an all-terrain vehicle and it goes fairly well. Let's put on our power suit again so we can see in the dark, because it's got dark. Unfortunately, we cannot control the sun, and yes, we use Lua commands, or however you'd pronounce it. I've never actually heard it spoken out loud to think of. Maybe you just call it Lua. I'm going to call it Lua. Lua sounds nice. Yeah, so You may also notice a nice sound to it now. Bit of a clanking going on. I think that's a new thing. If it's not, then I'm going to look a bit silly. But yeah, that's pretty cool, and we'll talk about the new sounds later on. I'll drive back over here for now and park up. But yeah, you do go faster in the tank as well on the stone stuff, just not as much of a boost as you get in the car. So when you want to go over sand, you want to use the tank, really. Makes a lot of sense. So you may have noticed something going on there with some bots. You may have noticed a bot popped out for a minute and repaired the tank. And you may have just thought that it was from the logistic system, and it is in a way, but not the one that you're used to, because you see, I have on my person a personal roboport, which is like a mess of bots there. That's terrifying. Yeah, it's a nice little item. You put it in your power suit, and you become a walking logistics area. Any bots that you have in your inventory can now hop out and do your bidding if you so desire. So let's get a deconstruction planner. Hey, I want these trees getting rid of. And there they go. The bots all come along and deconstruct it, redeliver it to me. It's all good, and then they recharge using my power suit. As you can see, the range is not that far. It's only, I think it's 30 by 30. But you can make it bigger. If you add more personal roboports, you continue to add to the size, though it doesn't just go from like 30 by 30 to 60 by 60. It adds the same number of squares, I believe. So you sort of get diminishing returns the further along you go, but you can probably get it quite big if you just like turn your entire power armor into a roboport, which you could do. That would be pretty cool, actually. And you'd be like a walking base builder, just be equipped with a bunch of blueprints, and you can now just go out into the wilderness with a blueprint and build a base from scratch, which is amazing. There's another thing with logistics as well, which is the trash area. We have 10 squares for this. There's a research you have to do for this. First one gives you 5 slots, second one gives you 10. And what you can do is just dump something in it. Let's say I don't want these transport belts. I'll just put them in there. Now, your own personal bots can't do it, but any other bots can. So they think, oh, they just grabbed them. For some reason, they've gone off that way, even though they could have put them in there. But I'm not gonna chase them up. But yeah, you just dump something in the trash slot, and it gets taken away. With this one, it will probably get delivered straight back to me because I have that being requested. I am not requesting iron rods, though. There you go. Take the iron rod. Off you go. So that's awesome. You can now get rid of all the mess in your inventory, which is what a lot of people have been hoping for quite a while. So that's pretty awesome. You may be hearing the music right now, reaching some sort of crescendo there. It's pretty cool. There's new music. We'll go into that later, I think, as well. So now let's go down here. We're going to look at chain signals. So I've got a little bit of a demonstration set up. A couple of trains around. There's 2 trains here. They want to go this way. This train here wants to go this way. Only thing is, because of the way the signals are set up, this train can't actually get to the station right now. He has to wait. So let's send him off. Off he goes, up to this junction, and he stops. And you see the immediate problem. This train can now not go. Thing is, the way is clear for him, and it would be better if he could have gone first, but unfortunately this train arrived earlier, and now this one has to wait. So let's reset this. We'll just drive this one back. There we go. Oh, he's gone off. No, don't go off. Come back. What are you doing? Trying to do a demonstration here. He's supposed to be back there. Come on. Up we go. Right. So, let's get this. Let's break that and replace it with a chain signal. There it is. And you can see that it's red. And the reason for this is that a chain signal looks at the block in front of it, and then works out if any train that went into the block could get out of it. So this is a block right now, and this signal is red. And because this signal is red, this one's red too. If this one was red, let's get a train. Do we have one handy? We don't have one handy. Let's just grab this one and drive it down. Didn't need to move it after all. So yeah, we put that one there. That makes that red. That would then make this red. I mean, that's red already. But the idea is that if an exit is blocked in this block, this will stay red to make sure that the basically the idea of it is that this junction will stay clear whenever possible, and not get blocked up by any queues of trains. And so if we sent them both off now, this one would just stop here and let any other trains pass through. And then once this train moved on, there was actually room for it to come into the station. It could. So that's one of the many applications of chain signals. There's all sorts of things you can do, and I could go on for hours about the possibilities, I guess. And maybe I will do one day in a video But basically what it means is that we've now gone one step up in how complicated we can make our rail systems. So yeah, that's awesome. We can make better rail networks now, where trains block each other less often, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. One other thing that we can do is, if we have a look at this train here, if we mouse over it, you can see there are some arrows. What this is the train's path. There's a new there's a new feature with this update, where whenever you mouse over a train, it shows you the path of it, and also whether it can make that path. So it can go into the junction, because that is clear, though it isn't clear according to the chain signal, so there's a bit of a difference there. But it can't carry on beyond the junction because there's a train in the block, and it shows you that. And this should be a good help, hopefully, in troubleshooting rail systems in the future, finding out why a train isn't moving, or something like that, or just working out what train is what, and where, based on what direction it's travelling in. So that's pretty cool, and that is chain signals. So next I think we'll look at the new graphics, though unfortunately my night vision goggles have just switched on, so you know what, we'll do that in a minute. Let's go over here. Actually, it's all green now, isn't it? Fine. We'll wander off and do something else. What else have we got to talk about? Let's have a play around with the tank here. Let's hop on board, drive it around, and at the moment we have your standard cannon shells in it. Let's drive over here, up to these trees, and just do a little bit of a test firing. There goes a bot repairing the tank, because I have my personal Roboport. The bot hops out with a repair pack, repairs the tank, hops back into me. It's awesome. So, fire that. Goes quite a way, cuts down a couple of trees in the meantime. New sound effect, I think, for that as well. New gun firing sound. I think there's a new muzzle flash as well, or something. Muzzle flash. Anyway, so yeah, that's what your standard cannon shell does. And these are explosive cannon shells. So we'll swap out for those and have a bit of fun with these. We'll drive a bit further in. And kaboom! Very nice. It doesn't go as far, but it explodes, it just immediately makes it so much more awesome. So this is going to be a fun one for dealing with biter bases, particularly if there's lots of small biters that will die to explosive shots. So that's one of the new things that we've got, a new bit of weaponry. I don't think there's any other new weaponry at the moment, but a lot of the new guns have received updated art, which is quite nice. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. Another thing that we have, let's oh, they're there, aren't they? Destroyer robots. As you can see, they're new. They've been changed. They now look a little bit more sort of just like balls of death, bristling with guns. It's pretty cool. So yeah, we can just swing them around. New art for those. And also, when they fire their guns now, they fire actual beams which hit the biters. So you have a better idea of what's shooting what. Also, there's new sound effects for the biters as well. There's new sound effects for everything. It's ridiculous. And there go our night vision goggles, so you can now see it as it should actually be seen, not with the weird green tint. And I think we'll go look at all the new items now. So there we've got concrete, pretty simple. It's a square. It's got a water input because it's got such a weird recipe. Then we have all the guns. We have the pistol, submachine gun, shotgun. I'm not sure if the art for this has actually been changed or whether this was what it was before, because I know it was updated recently, so that may be it. But we also have the armor-piercing shotgun, rocket launcher, flamethrower, and then we have the ammo for the shotgun, which has been changed, made it to look a lot more shiny and new. You got the standard one and the armor-piercing one. And over here, get out of the way, bots, what are you doing? Oh, that was just the normal tank shells anyway, not important. And here are the new tank shells, the explosive ones that look quite a bit like lipstick, actually, which is quite funny. And then over here we have rockets. They've been updated, looking a little bit more like sort of modern missile-style things. So you got your normal one, your explosive one. Over here we have the personal Roboport, which is just like construction bots. It's very informative, that one. You know exactly what it is from looking at it, if you know what the personal Roboport is. And then over here we have the stuff that you make in chemical plants, which are explosives, and I believe that's flamethrower ammo, isn't it? Yes, it is. And then over here we have the various items for making rockets. Get out of the way, bots. What are you doing? I shouldn't have deployed you. In a moment you'll hear the explosion sound effect, by the way, which is also new, but I think you heard that for the cannon firing anyway. So there you go. You've got your light. Oop, there they go. What's it called again? Low density structure, your fuel, your control thing, satellite, and the rocket, which is still the same as the old rocket defense one. And then, seeing as they actually are items, I put the all the combinators out on the ground there. Let's make our way back over here. Oh, actually, while we're on our way... Ah, there it is. We have new lamps, as you can see. They've been changed. It's sort of like a... It's sticking out of this nice square frame thing that it's got going on, which is quite nice. I mean, it's not that much of a difference, really, but it's sort of... I think the reason is that it's better for using in the circuit system, because now we've got all this going on. There's all sorts of cool things you can do, like make a gauge for how much of an item you have based on light. So having them as with the weird like four-sided bits, as shown in their inventory image, probably didn't suit so much anymore. So they've changed it to just having one on the top. And next time it's night time, I'll try and remember to show you that. So over here we have the gun turrets. Interesting thing with these, the sizes have been changed. The standard turrets used to be 2x1, and the laser turrets used to be 1x1. They're now both 2x2, and the strength has been changed accordingly. So the laser turrets are 4 times as powerful and 4 times as expensive, while the gun turrets I think are just twice as expensive and just as powerful. Something along those lines anyway. There have been some slight rebalancings and things. So there they are from all the different angles. Also, they now have a colour to them. These ones are a little bit yellow. The reason is that they've been integrated into a faction system. More development has been made with that. We now have different forces. They can be created, they can merge, they can make, I think, do ceasefires and things like that. So there's all sorts of cool stuff there. You can do more faction-based multiplayer games. There's been a lot of multiplayer optimization as well, a lot of help with that, and also lag hiding, so that when you do an action, you do it straight away without having to check with the other guys first. And then it sort of retroactively sorts it. I don't really know the details. Basically, it makes multiplayer at least look less laggy, which is always good. And there's less lag between your commands and the actions that actually happen. Right. There's one more thing about turrets, actually. Let's go down here into my factory, where everything's going on. Things are a bit broken. It's a bit of a mess. I've been sort of murdering it, trying to get the rocket done, and building all the new items and things. So down here, as you can see, is a turret, and because turrets used to take up a 1x2 space, obviously there had to be some sort of system put in place for when they change size. And the system that they put in was that it would just sort of expand out sideways. So this actually doesn't occupy a 2x2 square, it occupies a 3x2 space, but doesn't fill it properly. So let's get the normal gun turret. You can see it should sit there or there, but because it's got, like, it didn't have enough room to expand into, it's sort of, it's had to make do with just sort of widening a bit. There we go with an autosave. So another interesting thing is that the turret actually stops science packs from being placed out of that inserter there, so that's pretty cool. Just sort of blocking it up. So I will get rid of that, but right now it's just fun to see it like that. Also, while we're here, you've probably been noticing that we can see modules under anything. I have the alt thing enabled, which if you don't do, I strongly advise it, because it hugely helps with just all things factory based. So with it switched on, you can now see what modules are in an assembler or a science lab or anything. It's fantastic. I think it's brilliant. Really helps me because I have modules in literally everything. And it helps me do things like come over here and realise that I've actually missed this middle assembler here. I genuinely didn't put modules in that one by accident, and I've now found out that they're not in there. They're not in any of these either. Well, that's not particularly important. So that's a cool new thing, and I'm very happy about that one. There's also some changes with science packs. They've now got progress bars going on with them to help you not waste them through them being annihilated or whatever. Let's put that back there. There you go. Have 40 science packs that you never use because all the research is done. And speaking of which, we'll look at the research next. By the way, there's a light on during the night. Okay, so the research. We have 5 new researches. Let's run through them in the order that they appear. That is not one. There it is. Circuit network. So you now need to actually research something in order to unlock smart chests, red and green wires, and the combinators. It's pretty simple. It's only 50 red and green science packs. I imagine I wouldn't be at the circuit network stage by the time I could make red and green science packs, so that's fine. And let's find the next ones. Here we have concrete. You research it, you get concrete. 5 stone bricks, 1 iron, 1 water, as you've seen. And moving on, where's the next one? And here is the trash slot. So this is actually a 2-stage one. The first stage gives you 5 trash slots, the second one gives you 10. This one needs blue science, but that's fair enough, seeing as the most of the logistic system needs blue science anyway. I mean, not the basic one, but most of it. And I believe there's 2 more to find. They're probably fairly late on, if they are what I'm thinking they are. Well, there's that one anyway. That's Rocket Silo, so it looks the same as Rocket Defense, and it's even got the same cost. But now it unlocks all the rocket-based stuff. So you got your silo, your various bits, and the rocket parts that I don't think you can ever hold in your hand. I'll have to look into that, see if you can take them out of the machine or whatever. And I think that's it then. I swear there was another one, and I probably just missed it. Let's have a quick scan through, shall we? Everything looks as normal. It might just be an extension of a current one. I've completely forgotten what exactly it actually is. Maybe I'm just imagining things. I thought I did 5 when I started this up, but I may be wrong. Is there? No, I keep thinking that's new. It looks different. Maybe it is different. They might have used some new art for that. Whatever. It's not particularly important. You'll find it if you need to, and if it comes up. So that's all good. New research. So what was I going to say next? I was about to say the thing, and I've forgotten what that thing was. Let's see, so we've gone to the bit... I remember what it was. So there's been an interesting change to the basics of how a factory works. Quite interestingly. So here we have your average interaction between a belt and an inserter. The stuff comes along the belt, the inserter picks it up. Pretty simple. However, this should have made pipes, and it hasn't. Why hasn't it? Because I need to extend the line by 1. There we go. And now it works. Yes, there has been a change. And now, in order for an inserter to pick something up, the conveyor belt has to go into the square in front of it. This is interesting. Some people aren't happy with it. I think it's alright, but I'm yet to have a proper look over my factories. Basically, if you use the system where you just have this belt, you're in trouble, because your entire factory is probably now shut down. I've had to run around and make quite a few changes to get things working again. I've still missed a lot of stuff. There's just bits all over the place that haven't been done. It's a bit of a mess, but I don't think it's particularly a bad idea, because a lot of people, when they first start playing, assume that it's supposed to be like that anyway. So we'll see how things pan out. It may be that it gets changed back in the end. We'll just see how that one goes. Alright, what do we have next? Yes, let's go over in this direction. I'm going to craft myself a storage tank. The reason is that there's been a new thing with the storage tanks. We'll go over to where we have some water being piped along here. We'll just break these 3. Oh, not 3, 4. And then we'll get our storage tank, plonk it there, and you can see there's a new thing on the side, and that is what would you call it? It's a gauge, I guess. It's a window. It shows you how much liquid is in the tank, and as you can see, as it fills up, the indicator fills up. So now you have an actual outside indicator of how much fluid is in something, so you can just run along, have a quick glance, and run back, rather than having to mouse over them all. So that's pretty cool, and that will help you to be just sort of better with, just quicker with just things. Speaking of water-based stuff, there's a lot of new stuff you can do with liquids thanks to the combinators. There's been a few different items that have been integrated into the circuit system in this update, and there's a lot more to come in the next one. One of them is lamps, so you can now turn lamps on and off based on combinator signals, and the other things are, I believe, all based on liquid systems. Let me just find the list. Yes, it's the storage tank, the small pump, and the offshore pump, so you can now modify whether they're on or off based on input signals, so that's pretty cool. And we'll see what ideas people come up with that. I think it's a big help for backup power systems. You can do some stuff with that. So that's pretty cool. What else have we got to talk about? Trees. Let's talk about trees. Here are some trees. You may think that they look a bit different. That's because they do. If you update any game into 0.12, it will tell you that millions, literally millions of trees have been modified. Maybe not millions. This is Rail World, where I've gone on a very... I've seen a lot of the map. There've been a lot of trees, but I got a notification telling me that literally millions of trees had been modified. They've now been changed to this. Well, not this particular new design. There's a bunch of new designs. There's all sorts of variations of trees. There's different leaf colours and different trunk shapes and all sorts of cool stuff like that. Well, you may not consider it cool, but it's nice at least. They look very nice. And also, when you mine them, you can see lots of leaves come everywhere. And when you break them, some twigs and stuff fall down. So that's a nice little touch that they've added in there, that you can definitely appreciate. And then the one other thing with trees is that they are now affected by pollution. I don't think any of the trees here have actually been affected, because I don't have that much pollution. There's basically none, so I can't show you it, unfortunately. But the trees actually decay from pollution, and so if you have this big factory belching out smoke and death and horribleness, you will actually see the trees withering and dying. I don't think they actually disappear, but they just become bare trunks, and it doesn't look very nice. And it gives you a good visual indicator of how much you're just wrecking the surrounding environment. And as you can see, I'm not, which is fantastic. So yeah, the absence of that feature will always be a good thing for me. So yeah, that's another new thing, and we're most of the way. We're pretty much done with all the stuff I was going to cover. The thing is, there's just so many things. I can't keep track of all the new stuff that's been happening. I'd say the biggest update in terms of lines in the changelog. That's what I'm going to call it. Let's show you the changelog now. I like doing this. There it goes. Oh no, is it gone? It's probably gone. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It'll take a while for you to read through it. There's all sorts of little bits that I haven't mentioned, all sorts of little optimizations. So there's been a lot of stuff with speeding up the running of factories, a lot like making belts use less computing power and all sorts of stuff like that. Lots of clever ways of doing that. The same for multiplayer and things. So your factory should run a lot better now. If you're having one that was getting too laggy to play properly, then you'll be good now. And in fact, Railworld, for the longest time, I've always done the series that's based in this map in 3 times speed, so you haven't seen it. But the frame rate has been getting really bad. It's been, well, not really bad. It's been down in the 20s and stuff, and has been just getting steadily worse over time. It's now running absolutely fine at 30, which is what I wanted it to run at. So that's fantastic. This factory is now smooth as anything again. Well, smooth as a 30 FPS thing, which I'm completely happy with. So that's good. All sorts of things there. Also sounds. You may be hearing the soundtrack. It's new. I'll be quiet for a second so you can hear that it's new. So that's pretty cool. New music. And the old music is still in. They've just added in a bunch of new tracks as well to play. Also a system so that the same track doesn't play twice in a row, which is a nice little feature they've done. So you'll be hearing a lot of new bits of the soundtrack in the coming hours of play, I guess. I suggest you just go and play and enjoy them, because there's all sorts of there's some nice atmosphere to them, I'd say. There's a couple that are quite creepy and sort of remind you that you're alone in this world, surrounded by things that want to kill you and stuff like that. Also, a bunch of new sound effects. I think there's new sounds for the biters and things like that. Explosions, as you've heard already. I think gunfire as well, maybe. I miss these things. That's the thing. There's so many new things that you start to lose track of what isn't new. It's just ridiculous. I think we're pretty much covered there. I think that's everything that I wanted to go through. There is so much more stuff. I suggest you go read the changelog. That's got it all there. You can find some a bunch of cool stuff that I probably missed that'll be interesting to you. So yeah, it's the 0.12 update. It's a whole new world. There's a whole new bit of the game to do, and there's more science and more sounds and more vision stuffs. It's fantastic. And now I'm going to go play it for hours and hours and hours, and you should too. So, yeah, I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.